So now the ticket is assigned to the system administrator to configure the server, so then all desktops and other devices can be managed through this one domain controller, which we call as a management machine. You basically, the system administrator have these skills which I showed you in the beginning. He needs to come here, work on the operating system, and also configure the DHCP. So then that server on the bottom can assign IP addresses whoever connects to these ports right here. So if I plug in the Ethernet, I plug it in and plug it into any other machine, then I should be getting address from that DHCP, which is a server that a system administrator is creating right now. Networking guys are done over here. Now let's go ahead and configure our domain controller. So in the first thing you need to do is to install operating system. I'm not going to show you this because this is too basic. You can go in and check how do you install operating system, and you can also check this in our courses like free one, help desk course. You can also check it in a lot of other places. Just know that we have installed a normal operating system 2012 R2 on this server right here. It's not a domain controller or anything like that. We're going to make it a domain controller now. And that machine is connected to two networks. So what first thing you need to do in the domain controller is that first you need to change the name of it. So I already changed the name and I named it in remote. And then what you need to have to do is that you want to give it a static IP address, which we did in this network, right? This is connected to that switch directly right now, and that's how we're getting the connection. So if we come here and we look at it just to verify, do we have that address? We're going to just say yes. 2.3 is the address, 0.2.1 is fine, and the loop address, and then the other one is the DNS for Google. We're going to also uncheck IPv6. We're not using that right now, so for just not having any trouble, we're just going to uncheck it. You can leave the check mark. It won't give you too many issues. So the first thing you should do when you are creating a domain controller is you don't want to be putting two networks, because what will happen if I take you over here and let's say, for example, I want to create this server as a domain controller server, then you want to give it a good IP address. So that's the first thing. And also my suggestion to you in this is that disable the firewall, because if you have the local firewall on, then you may come across a lot of issues. So make sure you do that first. So after that, you're ready to get started. We're going to create a domain controller. Now, of course, this is not going to be 100% like Office type of network. This is not why we want to invest time here. We just want to show you what sysadmin usually do and how you can learn this stuff. So then I am going to do first disable this guy right here. I might get disconnected. That's fine. Once I get disconnected, I can come back to it. You see, I got disconnected because I was connected on this network, but that machine is right behind you guys. This is working right here. So I can actually go there and then kind of like make sure that it's working, everything is good, and then I'll come back to my screen and connect back again. It's gonna disconnect me, and we'll try to reconnect with this network on the right side that you guys are seeing. This one, this will reconnect again, but I'm gonna make it a little faster and do it quickly. Okay, so you see we are connected back again, and now we are gonna get ready and create this domain controller. And this is what we're gonna do. We are going to go to the server manager, and the first thing you need to do is to install Active Directory services on this, because that's where it starts. You're going to click on manage, you'll click on add roles and features, and then you will click on next. Then we will click next again, and here we verify that there's no two IP addresses, there's only one IP address. So we verified that, and here we are going to click on Active Directory domain services, and then we'll click on add services, and then we'll click on next. We're not installing DHCP right now, okay? So we're going to click next, and we'll click next and then install this domain controller role. So you can see right now, remote services, group policy management, all that kind of stuff is automatically getting installed. This is something that you have seen in if you're a JobSkillshare.org member many times. And this is where we also give you a full server access, where you have 30 GB RAM, 300 HD hard disk, and 8 vCPUs to play around with this type of stuff. Of course, you don't get routers and switches, but this is where you don't work then. Your work is mainly on this environment where you want to be like a junior sysadmin and learning these skills, so then you can either move up and also do really good in your interview, because we're teaching you some real good skills that are not just basically just simple stuff. It's little more than simple. So you get a full access to a server through your web browser. It's a real server, and then you basically work in that and play around with all these things that you learn for the help desk stuff, which we're going to go later on. I'm going to show you how you're going to transition from this lab to then start learning the help desk stuff. So right now we are waiting for our domain controller to finish the installation, and then I'll get back with this is finished. So that is done right now, and now we're going to promote this server to a domain controller. This is a key right here. Don't forget this. You're going to click on that, and then here we are creating a new domain controller in this network. We're going to say add a new forest, and we're going to name it jss.jobskillshare.org. This is our domain name. People put headquarter, whatever they want to put it, they're going to put it right here. We're going to click next, and after this is going to go to where you need to put a password. So let's go ahead and give it an easy password for now, and then it's automatically going to pick your operating system. So if you're doing it on 2019, probably now that you will probably see it. Before I couldn't see that 2016 was enough, but maybe now they changed it. You're going to click next. DNS will be automatically installed with this installation, and NetBIOS is going to automatically pick your first, the one that we have given the JSS. So it's going to show up right here in a second, and that is what we are going to be using for our logging into other machines, like JSS / whatever username. So we're going to click next and then finish this up. You will get some warnings. Don't worry about those type of warnings. This is normal. We're going to click next, and then we will install this domain controller. There you go. We're going to install it now. So after this will finish up, and it will say, okay, your domain controller is ready. You have converted this machine to a powerful machine. Now from this machine you can manage your whole devices, everything from this machine, for connections like logins and stuff like that, Active Directory, any other servers that you're installing on this network can be connected to this domain controller, and that will be also managed, and you can put applications on it and things like that. That's where your sysadmin skills are going to be utilized mostly. We'll talk about it later. So let's see, so you're about to be signed off. You're going to get this, and it will automatically after that just restart this machine. I can just close this quickly. You don't have to close it. It'll just automatically shut everything down. Right now I'm going to lose connection again over here. You see it's restarting, so I'm going to lose that connection, but on the background you're seeing that it's happening. So there you go, your server is getting started after the restart, and it's on the screen also. We're waiting for it to come up. Okay, so the domain controller is ready to go. Now this is where things will start. From here on, everything can be managed from this domain controller. So we're going to go ahead and do all control delete and log in with our admin password. So right now you will see that machine is the first one that got automatically connected to the domain controller. So if we come here and we look into the server manager, we can actually verify that this machine is now a part of a domain, which when you logged in, that was the first thing that told you that this is a part of domain. The second is that you will see more modules in here, and here you see Active Directory users and computers. And when you click here, this is where you can start adding users in Active Directory. You have done a full course on this. It's called Active Directory Users Management. We also teach this in live training, a lot on Active Directory. So here you can see, if you go to the computer and you're going to click on that, you can see that, the domain controller, or you can see that domain controller is right here. Okay, now what we're going to do is, after this we need to get DHCP, because we want this server to be giving IP addresses, whoever connects directly to these ports, to automatically get an IP address, not that we have to go inside the computer and statically put it in there. So the first thing we need to do is to go to manage, and we're going to click on add roles, and we're going to click next and click next and then next again, and here we are going to pick DHCP. I just want to make sure that I'm recording. Yes, I am. Okay, so then after that we are going to click add this feature and click next, and just click next, next, and install. So now we're installing a DHCP. What this will do, we are going to give out IP addresses from this server. Very simple stuff here. It's just going to take over because we didn't last time, one of our labs we made this guy a DHCP. The router is not a DHCP anymore. It's just giving connections. This guy is also just giving a connection, but because it has ports, people need to connect here, and our server needs to give out IP addresses. That is the main key of this lab. So once you're done with that, you're going to click on complete DHCP configuration. You're going to click next. You can choose the first option. That's fine. We're going to commit it and say done, done. That's fine, done. And we're going to close that. So now if you go to tools, you see that you have DHCP. Sorry, not this one. You have a DHCP added right there. So when you click on it, you have a DHCP already in there, but we still need to configure it. We haven't configured it because if you go to DHCP options, there's nothing in there. If I click on IPv4, there's nothing in there. So the first thing we need to do is to create a scope then. So we're going to right click on it. We're going to click on new scope, click next, and here we're going to just name it something. So let's just call it the same name, VLAN, or we can even call it JSS LAN. That's fine. And we're going to JSS LAN. And then we're going to click next, and here it says enter the range of addresses that the scope distributes. So what range do you want to give out IP addresses? Usually you want to separate it out. You don't want to keep it in the same IP addresses of your switches and routers. People will change something different, but here I'm just going to name it, let's say 2.SA after 10. And here when you click on it, what is the ending IP address? We're going to say 162.168.2. Let's say 150. It can go up to 150. And the length is 24. This is fine. 255 is fine. We're going to click next. Now here you have some exclusion stuff like that. This is a little bit advanced stuff. Like I said, don't worry about this stuff. This is something that you will learn in our server MCSA courses and labs that we have designed. We're going to invest too much time on this, so just click next. How many days? 8 days. Fine. Next. We're going to click next now. This is a very key option right here. Router. What is your default router? Remember, our default router in this lab is what? This guy right here. That was what? 192.168.2.1. Remember that this is our main router right here. Okay. Then we're going to click next here. What is the parent domain name? That's fine. And what is basically the DNS server? Because this is the same server that we're using with domain controller. Everything was on there. So we're going to be using the same server. We're going to click next. And you don't need this win stuff. We're going to click finish, and that's it. Done. So to verify, all you have to do is to click on the scope option. You can see the router, DNS server, and the domain name is ready. So this IP DHCP is now listening for calls that anybody needs an IP address. I'm here. And now how do we test it basically? So going back to our lab, this Ethernet right now that you're seeing is connected to, it's not connected to the actual laptop right now. It's not, and I have to show you that. When I connect it, then you see the light is not even on yet. I'm going to take this piece of Ethernet right here that you guys are seeing, and I'm going to plug it into the laptop. But before doing that, I am going to actually show you on the screen also. So let's go ahead and first put it on the screen. So I'm going to make my... Alright, so I make sure that my Wi-Fi is disabled on this laptop, and I'm going to go ahead and plug this guy into this laptop now. So as you can see, we just lost the connection because we were using a remote connection to this server in the back. That's fine. We don't need to worry about that. You see on the bottom, we're getting this little yellow icon, but that's going out there right now. You see it's a yellow link right here. It's going out there. It says, guys, I'm connected here. And this server is saying, okay, you're connected. Let me work with you. I'm going to give you an IP address. Just hold on a minute, okay? And there you go. It got green. And if you come back here, now, of course, you can make it better in an office situation. There are other ways the sysadmins will be working on this to make it better, DNS and all that, because we have so many things connected from a normal environment. There's a lot of things that we need to be fixing. But this is normally when you connect it and you see that icon got yellow, then I will be seeing an IP addresses soon here. So if I right click here, there you go. So now you see you got the connection from where? JSS, jobskillshare.org 2, because I already had one before. So now I click yes. If I click on networking here and I click on show networks, actually not show, Ethernet and adapters, if I go to the adapter, the one that is connected is this one. And if I right click and go to status and go to details, you see I got the address where I wanted it to start. And that is what? 2.10. And my default gateway is this. My DHCP is this. My DNS is this. I didn't do this. It just automatically. If I can, by the way, show you right now. If I right click here and I go to properties again and I go to TCP/4 properties, this is automatically doing it. I have a connection now. I can go to internet. I can do a lot of things because I got a full connection. So if I can show you, I can go to Google and we can type something, let's say speed test, and you can run a speed test. There you go. I got on that switch 100 Mbps switches right there. So almost there. So this is it, guys. This is what we can do for getting everything managed through this server. In our next videos, we're going to talk about some of the Active Directory stuff and how can we join a machine. Can we join a machine to this Active Directory by directly connecting to that switch? If everything is working, everything should be smooth enough and it should connect back. Then we'll get into more virtualization later on, but hopefully you guys are enjoying this lab and are learning a lot. And this is all system administrator doing everything. We haven't still got into the help desk yet. So hopefully you have a really clear understanding. Now again, if you're brand new to IT, this is not the only thing sysadmins or network engineers do. Here, this is their area. Everything else is there. Then if you come to server manager, there are many other things that they work on here, especially web browser, web servers, IIS, applications specifically designed on servers and made for enterprise level application. They usually install it on these servers. And this is not the only server they use. There are multiple servers, virtualized servers, many servers. So many things that they work on. And same with the networking guys. They do the same things. The security guys, same thing. Then your job comes into play and that's where you work your own stuff. So lastly, just wanted to show you quickly that the scope, then you can see it right here. When you go to your server, the address leases to that computer started with 10. The rest, when you connect, everything will show up right here. Now, for people who are wondering that, do I really need to learn all of this stuff? No, you're just watching it to get that image in your head that everything is working that way. So then now after that, when you learn about DHCP, it will be really easy for you to understand what DHCP is actually. And then for people who are kind of like want to know how do we teach, we actually prepare everything for you just like this. This is a full web-based VMware server where you get access to a very powerful environment where you can see you have 30 GB RAM, you have almost 8 vCPUs to work on, a lot of space right here, and this is a powerful server right here. And here you create this domain controller in your own lab environment. You create machines, you connect them to it, and then that's where we teach you the help desk skills right here. We go into ticketing systems, we go into deployments, we go into troubleshooting, we go into remote stuff. Almost 80% of the stuff we cover right here, and you get access to it for 30 days without any interruption, meaning there's no time limit. Of course, then you have such a big access like practice lab and everything else where you can then go and specifically learn step-by-step labs, which is more designed for a specific skill. not a real world like this one. So it's a combination of these two that makes you a real IT professional the way we want to make you. But the rest of these labs are going to help you really to understand the whole picture, because behind this we have done the networking for you, we have done the security part for you, right? So now when you see these labs and you come back to do these labs that helped us ones that we're creating, you will have a clear idea of what's going on in this network. Because sometimes people wonder, I'm doing all these labs, but what's the back end behind it? So this is where we're going to get to that point too, that how you're actually accessing these labs also, like from a virtual point of view, from the VMware point of view, how these servers are providing these labs and everything. Okay, see you in my different video. Thank you.